Hi everyone, it's Aiden here. I just wanted to do another video, some more questions. There's plenty out there, and there's too many to put in within the first 15 minutes. The first thing I want to cover is a main concept I somehow forgot to put in the first one, known as the Wiccan Law. Well, we call it the Wiccan Reedy, but the Wiccan Law is a little bit easier. So I'm just going to read through the short version. I'm going to put a link for the longer one. I like the longer one. It's in my Book of Shadows personally, but I'm reading this one to save some time. Okay, bid the Wiccan law ye must, in perfect love, in perfect trust. 8 words the Wiccan Reedy fulfill, and it harm none, do what ye will. And ever mind the rule of 3, what ye send out comes back to thee. Follow this with mind and heart, and merry ye met, and merry ye part. Basically, what this means is that our whole philosophy is that if you're not harming yourself or other people, go ahead and do it. But that seems very flexible, but if you think about it, there's plenty of things you could do that can harm someone else by either harming them physically, mentally, or emotionally, or taking away their freedom. So we really have to stop and think about our actions and what they could possibly lead up to before we make them, especially when we're angry. That seems to be where the most of the problems lie. This goes with our daily lives, just talking to people, our interactions, our spell work later, just all a bunch of stuff. And if we break the law and harm someone else, we go through basically karma, which is known as the threefold law, and anything we put out comes back to us threefold. So if you're going out and putting a bunch of negativity out, it's going to come back to you 3 times, affect you in 3 different ways: physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So if you're putting out all this negativity, it's just going to come back and harm you, so why do it? This is a very peaceful religion. We're not out to go and go through different conflicts. So that goes to another question. Do you Wiccans practice black magic? The answer is no, for this reason. Who wants the backlash? Seriously. Moving on from that, I'm going to probably make some more videos about that, because there's an issue of prudence I would like to mention with that, because there's some cases where no matter what you're going to do, you're going to end up hurting someone eventually. Usually the best rule is to do what's best for you. Personally, I will explain that more in a different video though, so I'm going to just go on with some of the other things I wanted to mention. Here's another question I commonly get. Are there different kinds of Wiccans, or are we just all kind of meshed in one group? Thankfully, there's more than one. And I'm going to just go list off a few of them. There's a very long list. Dianic Wicca, Celtic Wicca, Alexandrian Wicca, Gardnerian Wicca. That was founded by the founder of Wicca in general. And then you have my branch, which is known as Eclectic Wicca. Eclectic just means that I study all the different branches. I study all the different kinds of paganism. I study just all the main religions, really, and kind of just take in what I see in comparisons, and just take in everything and kind of reflect on it and kind of decide what's best. I mean, not what's best, what fits my what fits for me, what makes sense for me, and what I believe is true. And it just helps me become more not well-rounded. It just makes me feel more spiritually aware. No, not aware. Knowledgeable. That would be better. I personally like that branch. A lot of the traditional Wiccans do not view it as an actual branch of Wicca, because it's kind of like, you're just kind of just copying things out of books and kind of just doing cut and paste. But I believe it really is a true tradition, and it's actually the one with the most members, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, moving on from that, what holidays do you celebrate? Wiccan holidays go around the change in the seasons and observing what's going on with nature at the time. And during certain days of the year, we celebrate the god and goddess based on those seasons and what's going on, and it fits in this whole story. So I'm just going to list off the 8 holidays, and I'll probably post them down below if I pronounce them wrong. Samhain is the one coming up. You commonly know that as Halloween. Yule, I usually compare that to Christmas because that's a very well-known holiday. Imbiak, Ostara, Beltane, Lithia, Lammas, and Malin. These are all the main holidays. I'll put them down below. Just research the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, and you'll see all the holidays and which one comes in what order. Next question. Find my right notes. Oops. What are some Wiccan and pagan symbols? There's way too many for me to list. A few of them I can name off would be like the yin yang symbol, because it represents the balance between male and female. Thor's hammer is a symbol for those who worship the Thor as their god. The triple moons is probably something you've seen quite often. It represents the 3 stages of the goddess: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. I will explain that in another video. Like I said, I'm going to be posting many, hopefully quite a few today. The biggest one, probably well known, is the pentacle, which this isn't a pentacle, this is a pentagram. Alright, the difference between a pentacle and a pentagram is a pentacle has the circle around the star, where a pentagram is just the star, basically. So I'm going to go through and just say what the pentagram represents, if you can all see that right about there. Alright, so going through all the, where is it? Okay. It basically represents all the 5 elements. You have earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. These elements are found everywhere in nature. Spirit represents the soul, and then the other elements are self-explanatory. We believe that they occur in every part of life, and both everything in the physical plane, both living and non-living, and within our own bodies. There's a chant actually called Earth is my body. I would definitely recommend looking that up on YouTube. There's some really good videos on it. Very simply, it's Earth is my body, water is my blood, air is my breath, and fire is my spirit. And it's just a very empowering chant, and I like to use it in my rituals every now and then. I hate having this much paper. Is Wicca a small religion? Actually, no. It's actually a pretty fast-growing religion at the moment. Part of the reason is that Wicca tends to attract the younger generation, which is kind of understandable if you really think about the virtues and the balance between male and female, and how essentially in Wicca nothing is supposed to dominate over somebody else in all the different respects. And I feel like the older religions tend to be very dominant and just ruthless, really. And I feel like the younger generation just looks at that and just not rebels, but just disagrees with it. They don't think that's the right way, and I agree with them. And I'm not just saying that because I'm 18, but I just feel like that's the main reason why a lot of people are leaving the church, is that they're realizing that this is a very dominant religion. And well, I'm talking about not just Christianity, but all the main religions. There's with the economy and just everything. There's a huge change in religion going on, and it's affecting Wicca too. I could go into another long discussion about this later, but I sadly, with the 15-minute limit, I'm kind of restrained on what I can answer at what time. So I'm going to go through some ritual questions. First one: do you have an altar? Sadly, I live in a college dorm, so the answer is no. My roommate actually ask me for me not to, and I have to respect that. I do build a small one outside when I do practice, which answers another question. I do practice outside now because he's uncomfortable with me practicing in the dorm, which is going to be a problem in the winter, but I'll figure that out later. I really don't use many tools. I find most of them to be a distraction and unnecessary. I can work magic without the tools, but I would recommend them for beginners because they help you get in the right mindset to work. I personally don't use them. If I do use tools, I use incense, candles, salt, and a few minor things depending on the spell I'm using. Dress-wise, I don't wear robes. I don't wear the cloak. I really don't have the money for it. I just basically dress in normal clothes, but I take a shower and change before I go and practice, so I don't have all that excess negative energy in my when I do cast. You don't want that in your circle. It just leads to problems. I'll explain another time. Do Wiccans practice nude? Some do. I personally don't, although there's been 1 or 2 rituals where I have, but usually I don't. That basically represents just stripping away all the stereotypes and all the disguises we have to wear, and just basically coming to realize the absolute truth about ourselves. And I feel it's very enlightening, but it's just something I'm a little uncomfortable with. Do I let other people watch me cast? Usually no, because I tend to work by myself anyways, and most people don't ask me. I do let them watch mock rituals so they can learn, but I prefer that my actual rituals be done only with me present, and I just like practicing alone. Well, I'm going through them pretty well. There is one beginner meditation I would like any of you who are interested to try. It's a very simple one if you're definitely wanting to choose this path. It's known as the candle flame meditation. What you do is you sit in the dark and you have a lit candle in front of you. Be very careful because it is an open flame. And basically you just look at the candle for a long time, and then you close your eyes and you try to imagine that candle with the flame on it for as long as you can, and try to hold it. At first you're not going to last very long because your mind is untrained to visualization at that time, and with more practice you'll be better at that, and that tends to help with spells a lot later on if you are choosing to decide this path. It's also just a good way to clear the mind, personally. I really don't have much else, so I'm probably going to move on to the next video. Thank you for watching, and blessed be.